Hi, I am Miss Roz, and we are going to cut an onion. And specifically, we're going to dice the onion. So you can see I'm ready. Hair is up. My sleeves are rolled up, and then I'm also wearing some closed-toed shoes. All right. So this onion that we're going to be cutting. All right. Let's bring this down so that you can see the onion. Right. This is the kind of root of the onion, and then this is the top of the onion. When we dice this onion, we want to make sure that it is going to stay intact, so we want to make sure that the root stays intact. Right? So, because we talked about it being a rolling kind of food, we want to make sure that we get a nice flat surface so that it's not rolling around so much. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to cut off the top of the onion, right? And then we also need to peel the onion, right? Now, because it's nice and flat now, I can cut this in half, like so, okay? And then I'm going to make sure you get all the little pieces from the root that come off, right? You want to make sure that you don't get any of the peel in your cut onion, right? So I have my bowl here, and then I'm just going to peel it. So generally speaking, I peel this 2 layers, all right? There's always this kind of very papery brown layer, but then typically there's another thin layer underneath, right? When you're working with an onion, please be careful not to touch your face, right? Onion juice, when you go and get it in your eyes, is going to cause your eyes to tear, right? It's kind of what makes you cry a lot. And so you just want to make sure that you don't touch your face, because once it starts to burn, you're going to want to continue to rub it, and that's just going to make it even worse. All right. Okay, so we peeled this onion, right? And so now I have 2 halves of an onion, right? So what I want to do is we are going to dice this onion. Now, a lot of people think that they should just cut off the top and the bottom of each one and then just start dicing. However, what we find is that the onion tends to fall apart, and then it gets all messy, and it gets everywhere, right? So if you keep the root, right, of this intact, this will be very helpful. Now, you're not going to cut through the whole onion. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to cut so that the tip kind of ends up somewhere up here, right? So that you're still going to leave this part intact and you're not going to cut all the way through, right? So we're going to start from over here, and I'm going to take the tip of my knife and just cut down, right? Cut down and cut down. So what you're doing is essentially you are just slicing your onion, right? Or without going all the way through, right? You want to make sure your onion stays intact, right? So when I'm done slicing this, if I pick up my onion, if you've done it correctly, right, your onion should not fall apart, right? So again, notice my fingers are tucked in, right? My thumb is back. My hand is held nicely, and then it's gripped well, right? And now I've picked up my onion, right? So it looks kind of like it's, kind of coming apart, and I should be able to pull the segments apart, but it's all still together, right? Now, if your onion is thick, if it's a big onion, right, you might want to cut it horizontally. However, if you have a smaller onion, you probably don't have to cut it horizontally, right? So make that judgment call if you think that your onion is really big, right, thick, right? So you're going to, oops, sorry, I just have a little, there we go. All right, when you go to do this, you're going to put your hand on top, right, and then you're just going to cut horizontally this way, like so, right? And notice I didn't go all the way through, right? I went to about here, because again, I want to make sure that that root is intact. And again, for the most part, my onions stayed together. There might be like a stray piece or two, right? But now I'm ready to dice. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my onion, finger, knuckle out, hold my grip, and then I'm going to dice down like so. Right, and now you can see how it's diced so nicely, right? And it comes all apart together rather than it falling apart at various times, right? It only comes apart when you're ready for it to dice the entire thing, right? And so this root tub goes into the trash, right? And then I have beautiful diced onion, right? And the nice thing is that it's probably pretty uniform, pretty the same size, right? Now, let's try it again, right? And see, right? I can do it again just as another demonstration. So cutting down, slicing my onion into thin segments. Now, if I wanted to have larger dice, then these segments would just be farther apart, right? But I want to do small dice. I want to see that nice, fine, small dice of an onion, right? So again, slicing that onion, I should be able to pick it up, right? And it shouldn't fall apart. My onion is kind of thick, so again, I'm going to cut the horizontal a little if I can. Not all the way through, right? So again, see how I didn't go all the way through? All right, and then pull those all pieces back together if they spread out a little. And then I'm going to hold it again and dice my onion up again, all right? And so again, I will have nice fine diced onion, beautifully diced onions, right? Like so, right? And then this part can get tossed out, right? And so now you can see my beautifully diced onion, right? One thing I forgot to do in the beginning of the video was talk about the parts of my knife, so we can do that now. So let's see. Let's look at my face here. All right, so when my knife, right, this particular one has a spine, which is the back, and then this whole part is the blade. The bottom part here, the sharp part, is the cutting edge. This is my tip. Heel part right here is called the bolster, and then this is my handle, right? This particular one does not have, this actually might be, this little round thing might actually be the rivet that's holding it, but you can notice that I do not actually have a tang on this knife, right? My Santoku knife, on the other hand, right, does have the tang that runs all the way through the handle and has the rivets to hold this black part, which is called the scale, onto the tang, okay? So again, spine, cutting edge, tip, heel, right? And this one actually doesn't have a bolster like the other ones, right? So thank you so much for watching how to dice an onion, and I look forward to seeing all your videos.